So before proceeding forward, a bit of a warning, as we'll state that there is a veil we need to pierce through here. And far too many people throughout the world, because of 40 plus years of media misdirection, are simply not able to accept this. Not only will they not accept this because of what media has done to their minds via psychological manipulation on maths, with large swaths of the populace, but they will think the exact opposite. They will instead say what is right side up is upside down, what is really backwards is said to be forward, and what are lies are said to be truths. To heavily zoom out for a moment, the physical aspect of the material world we are in before we leave our meat suits and melt back to the source light that is love and is non-binary and of unity is called binary reality, with two poles, positive and negative, night and day, female and male, etc. This terrarium could be thought of as a soul school, an education facility, if you will, for life, with all of us learning through that polarization, especially through our failures and conflict. In Hermetic Kabbalah, and Kabbalah is most often in America thought of as Jewish, but it's not. It's quite older than Judaism. This is called Nakash. People that are young new souls in early grades of the school of life think their way of looking at the world is correct, and anyone who doesn't agree with their pre-installed views is wrong. The classic example of through all time has been, we are good, they are evil. This is amplified by the less studied, less read, less traveled, and de-amplified by the well-studied, well-read, and well-traveled. The latter can also come to realize that false binaries, or either one way is right and the other way is wrong, often have a hidden door number 3, which is never allowed to be seen. It also doesn't mean that through all these two multiple extremes that the center is always right, as we'll get into media horse racing and both sidesing false versus true things later in this series. I.e., if one person says the Earth is flat and the other says the Earth is round, it doesn't really mean it's an oval. But the true north is always the journalistic oath and what is true. Political polarization in America has amplified in our lifetimes by targeting the less read and less traveled. We had a former teacher from many, many years ago who had a lot of extensive work related to self-development, which we came to realize was just politics in disguise. So combined with that, and our obvious threats to democracy increasing throughout the world, we decided to be more upfront with our political theories and what types best help the self-development of the individual for real. Through doing our pro-democracy series of essays, which yes, brought politics more into our material, and has certainly lost us some listeners. Those in the extremes of political ideologies, when confronted with opposing information, have become so tribal with their underlying inaccurate views, they want to find out what someone is, label them, put them in a box, and push them out to the far and opposing pole of the binary, with a I am right, you are wrong, or I am good, you are evil attitude. Study of Hermetic philosophy reveals that one could say whatever one sees problematic in the world is a reflection of the problems actually within themselves. But that's a much deeper and larger philosophical story. What we are going to continue to say going forward regarding the systematic problems with the media throughout our country and much of the world is not an extreme view. It's a balanced view. We've created a personal life philosophy which we call the individualization trinity, which is about the individual's personal growth, the inside, finding balance, or the center point or fulcrum, and creative output, which is what manifests on the outside. This is what the logo of our website, podcast, and channel represents. So while much of our work can maybe seem contentious, we would say that just simply telling the truth in a society awash in untruths is contentious. And none of our political philosophies are off balance, but instead always aiming to seek truth. What we are not for is bullshit arguments and lies. And there is a simple line that can be followed and will be followed in this series regarding where the echo chambers of lies and misinformation primarily radiate out from today, where they have come from, who caused them, and why they were created, which have been a direct through line leading to the amplified polarization and dumbing down of the populace. And this relates to the basic premise of which way has legacy media and much of new media slanted with a very specific partisan tilt. And if one thinks that's liberal progression instead of what it actually really is, which is a very heavy conservative regression, it's time to study the logical fallacies found in the classic 7 liberal arts, which are a barometer for truth and lies. Since our documentaries can take years to make, these insights were created with the goal of us being in front of camera, providing you more consistent content. They are independently made and often feel for us like throwing a Kleenex into the Grand Canyon alone while surrounded by tumbleweeds. So if you find value in these shorter insights, please do the usual things that favor the Ghost in the Machine algorithms. We never run any ads, so also consider navigating over to our overarching website, nilesheckman.org, where you can acquire our longer form content such as our films or narrated essays bundled in volumes, or even become an annual member for a very modest fee. Cheers for watching and/or listening.